And we are live. Welcome back, everyone, to Behind the ToolBelt episode 301. I'm your host, Ty Cobb Backer. Thank you for joining us on this Wednesday edition. We will be back after our short intro from our sponsors.
Roofing, siding, windows, gutter, solar. Roofing, siding, windows, gutter, solar. TC Backer, TC Backer.
Is your lead flow down? Whether you're a company owner, office staff, salesperson, or installer, you're a roofing rock star. We help you get more leads with custom SEO, Google Ads, and a pro website.
Welcome to Behind the ToolBelt, where the stories are bold, the conversations are real, and the insights come to you live, raw, and uncut. Every week, host Ty Cobb Backer sits down to bring you the stories, the struggles, the lessons learned, and the wins. No filters, no scripts, just the truth. Please welcome your host of Behind the ToolBelt, Ty Cobb Backer.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to Beyond the ToolBelt. Woo! I am your host, Ty Backer, and today we have a powerful guest, Stephen Spence, co-founder of Project Map It. If you're in the home improvement space and you care about showcasing your work, building social proof, and closing more deals, Steve is your guy. You need to reach out to him, and we will post his stuff in the comments. Stephen has helped hundreds, if not thousands, of contractors elevate their online presence by turning job photos, and if I'm wrong, please correct me, Stephen, job photos into reviews, mapping technology into lead generation. We're going to dig into how Project Map It got started, the impact he has on our industry, which I know firsthand, and what contractors need to know to stay ahead of the curve. Of course, Stephen, I will give you a minute to talk. I'm pretty jacked up, if you haven't noticed. Maybe a little more than usual, maybe not. We're also going to talk about Stephen's mission. His mission is actually near and dear to both of us, roofers in recovery, recovery in general, swing for recovery, and the impact that Stephen and roofers in recovery are having on our industry. Stephen and I are teaming up to host, again, our second annual, Steve's third. So actually technically third annual.
Yep.
Swing for Recovery. I freaking love it. And an event, to create awareness and funds to support those battling addiction and seeking the path to recovery. We're going to cover entrepreneurship, impact, I'm sure, and how our industry can rally together for something bigger, more than just business. So anyhow, my friend, Stephen Spence, welcome to the stage.
Thank you for having me. I've never seen you prepare a speech. Did you write that yourself? That's impressive.
Usually a little bit. Yeah. Well, I put a couple notes in here that I wanted to little plugs here, little names I didn't want to forget to throw out there.
You've done good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Very much. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're a good dude, and I wanted to make sure that you got, the correct exposure, the notoriety, where this comes from, because I know locally here, people were like, yeah, we're going to go out and do Ty's, swing for recovery. And they're inviting people, but I don't know if they know the whole story. It's like, this isn't about me. This isn't my event. This is actually, Stephen's. And I'm sure I'm going to speak for you on this, but I know that this isn't about you. This is about everybody else and having an impact on our industry, but most importantly, those that are in need of recovery.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So good stuff, man. So, let's talk a little bit about Project Map It before there might be people in here that are watching for the first time that you've been on the show.
Yeah.
And they may not know what the hell is Project Map. It sounds pretty cool. I love the logo, blah, blah, blah. But where did it originate from? Like how, where, what?
So it was actually it was a software that was built by a roofing company here in my local area, Maryland, by I was a lacrosse player and high school teacher and lacrosse coach at high school for 20 years prior to this career change 7.5 years ago. And one of my ex lacrosse players who graduated from my high school that I coached for 4 years, he started Project Map It. I was the first ever hire back in 2018. And then in 2020, I took it over with 4 other partners. So there are 5 of us. And I wake up every day. I kid you not. I think you know this, Ty, about me. I'm very passionate about it. I'm a 51-year-old dude that changed careers when he was, I guess, 40 or 40, whatever, 44. And I had to learn the industry, and I fell in love with the industry. And I'm a very competitive person. I just mentioned lacrosse, so I've always been into sports, so I'm really competitive like you are.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, there was no option for failure, right? Like I didn't know the industry from Adam when I started back in 2018 to now, where I've just grinded like a mofo and met incredible people along the way, like you and some of our huge partnerships that we have, and just fell in love with the industry. And honestly, I also fell in love with the recovery part of the industry and knowing that there's a huge problem of drug, alcohol addiction, as well as mental health in our industry. And that also spurned me to get on this path of, supporting such a great cause with Roofers in Recovery and bringing you in the fold. And you obviously not bringing you in the fold. It was actually born on this show, my idea of this golf tournament. So that's Project Map It. We're an interactive mapping platform. We're literally just if you're any kind of contractor, think of a map of all of your past work, and all of that past work will help prove to a homeowner that you're the best one for the job, right? If I can zoom into a map and show 20 pins that we did in your neighborhood, you're showing that we work in your neighborhood. You're building trust with that homeowner. And it's so much more than just pins on a map. We have a review platform that helps you collect reviews. We've found great success. So if you're a company that doesn't really have a solution to getting reviews, we are awesome for that. We are photos, right? So putting photos of your jobs. The map can be filtered down by, in the roofing industry, shingle color, siding color, commercial product type. You can click a filter like, I want to look at the Moray black roofs, and the map changes to only show projects that are Moray black, which obviously exterior remodeling companies love. And we sync directly to your Google business profile. So our mapping platform shows all your reviews too. So total social proof, like Ty said. That's what we are. We have great integrations that makes your life a lot easier. If you're ordering material from QXO, SRS, or ABC, your map can be created through those deliveries, through integration. So we make it super simple for you. We're a photo documentation system, but we also integrate with great companies like Company Cam. So it's a really easy platform, but it really builds that trust that literally will help your close rate increase by 3 to 10 or more %.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love that. And I can, contest to everything that you just said, especially when you had mentioned about, very big, large partnerships with people, like some of the biggest, all of the biggest distribution centers around the country here. Your partners with ABC, SRS, Beacon, all of them, and you've been able to integrate with their systems.
Yeah.
So I wanted to also plug. So like if somebody wanted to reach out or figure out more about Project Map It, they could, whichever distribution center that they're using, they can actually reach out to them and like integrate it with probably whatever CRM the contractor's using with the CRM or platform rather. Beacon has a real nice portal. ABC has a real nice portal. A lot of us contractors take advantage of that. So then we can see pictures of our deliveries. We'll know when deliveries are going out and things of that nature. But most importantly, they're also tracking addresses where these projects are being, conducted. So then your integration with them is also captivating those addresses for you. So we don't have to do it manually. I just wanted to point that out because I know a lot of us contractors aren't very, proactive, or we'll just let the list compile and it's like we lose half of it. And it's, I really like that feature where it's super simple. And you told me about that, Steve, when it will just, give so-and-so a call and they'll just give me the list of all your addresses. I was like, damn, that is genius. So I just wanted to point that out because, I mean, obviously you run a legit, platform. If not, all of the heavy hitters in our industry would not be using you or allowing you to partner with them. So kudos to you for that. And getting touch a little bit on your work ethic too. I've also got to experience and have watched Steven outwork everybody. When somebody, and Steven doesn't even talk like that. He doesn't even say, I'm going to outwork everybody. He just does it. Steven just shows up and he kicks ass and takes names. I got to experience that at a couple of different shows. We partnered up on some booth space and Steve is just nonstop. I have no idea how he still has a voice, or his back isn't sore, or his feet aren't freaking killing him, because he is just chucking and jiving and grinding it out. Like you said, dude, you've built something here that is very special. And I applaud you for that.
That's very nice. Thank you for saying all that. I truly appreciate it. I'm humbled by someone like you in the industry saying that. So thank you.
Yeah. You're one of the hardest working people I know, dude. You're an inspiration. And if no one's got to experience that, check Steven out at the next, expo, or, I know Certainty, your partner with Certainty, can't forget that. That's a huge partnership there. Got to listen to one of your breakouts there. And like, you do such an amazing, shoot, I just had the word.
We have a great presentation.
Yeah, presentation. You have an amazing presentation, and it's not even just it's the way that you articulate the message to the crowd and you keep the crowd engaged. You did little exercises. It was awesome, dude. You're a very talented man, which probably some of that comes from your background from being a coach and a teacher and all that good stuff. So you know how to deal with idiots like me. And so I can comprehend what it is that you're picking, what you're putting down.
When you're a teacher for 20 years, you get accustomed and you feel natural when you're in front of people. So
absolutely.
I enjoy it. That's one of my favorite part of my job, is to present and to help educate contractors. Cause we don't just talk about Project Map It in our presentations at Certainty events. We educate them on, the sales process, what I've learned from people like you and other industry leaders. We educate them on their online presence, like websites and Google business profiles and all that. So yeah, no, thank you very much for that intro. I appreciate it, Ty.
Yeah, man. You're the man. You are the man for sure.
Takes one to know one. Takes one to know one.
No doubt. And what's crazy is, like, I probably see people in the industry who live further away more than I see you, and you're like 45 minutes from me.
I'm an hour and a half.
Hour and a half? Oh, whatever.
I'm an hour and a half.
Okay. Thai time, 45 minutes. GPS time, hour and a half.
We try to see each other often, but it's been too many months recently.
Yeah,
to be honest
it really,
with you. I agree with that.
has. Yeah. Well, just FYI, we should be in town till at least the end of the month, beginning of November. So let's, in the next 2, 3, 4 weeks, we'll see each other at Swing for Recovery. Good segue.
You'll see me in a couple weeks and I'll see you in 3 weeks.
Yeah. Great segue here.
Good
so
segue.
Yeah, Swing for Recovery. Speaking of which,
yeah,
what, let's talk about it. Let's talk about, your passion for recovery. And maybe if you want to get a little vulnerable on that, let us know why. I'm sure most people want to know why. Maybe why recovery? Why Swing for Recovery? Why, I know it was inspired on this because of purpose and you wanting a purpose for your company, right? Because, all companies should be not money purpose or revenue purpose. There should be a cause. There should be, some substance to, like, why are we doing this every day? Obviously to make an impact, right? If you're doing it for the right reasons, if you're in business, and sometimes it takes some of us a little longer to figure out, okay, I am here to make an imprint. I am here to leave an impression. I am here to build a legacy mindset. You are going to go so much further when you make it about something else or someone else outside of yourself. So this for me, from the outside looking in, this has become your purpose. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, it's I'll get as vulnerable as you want. It has become very, very important to me. And it's it becomes more important to me every day. Every time I have a conversation like this online, we were just with Roofers Coffee Shop with Paul and Kim Reed a week or two ago. And, every time I'd like tear up when I talk about it. It started with trade shows 7 years ago when I started them, right? I was, like I said, I was a teacher for 20 years. I've never been to a trade show, and I started going to these trade shows, and I saw two sides of the fence, and there's a middle portion as well, but two extremes, right? There are contractors that are in recovery that don't go out and party at all and just have fun and can do everything and have more fun even without drinking. And then or drugs. And then there is the other side of the fence, which are the extreme parts where, I witness people, partying literally all night long, where I would be up at 6 a.m, going down to the hotel's workout room to get a workout in. And there are people like drunk as skunks with bottles all over the table, just making noise and acting like buffoons. And to each their own. I'm not calling everybody on here that might be seeing it that does that a buffoon. I personally drink still. Paul Reed and I have had some really good conversation. We can talk about this too if you want, Ty. I don't know how much time we have, but I went out to Alamosa, Colorado, where Kim and Paul Reed built the first rehab center kind of on Roofers and Recovery's behalf as well. And I got to interview people there, which was amazing. But anyway, Paul called me a normie. So I always address myself as a normie, a person that drinks but still supports the cause and still wants to help in any way, shape, or form. So anyway, for years, I went to these trade shows and I realized I like Ty Backer and his crew so much more than this crew. And it really was. It was, what was it? Was it Texas during the ice storm where we hung out and really got to know each other. And then we went to a couple trade shows and shared booths together. And then fast forward to your show back we're in 2025. So this is my third year doing it. Back in 2023, I was on your show and you had mentioned Roofers in Recovery Day was right around the corner. It was like a month later or whatever. And it literally was at that moment, standing up in your old studio where you stood. And it was at that moment I told you, I was like, oh, fuck, that's what I want to do, man. That's the cause. Like for years, I was trying to figure out what cause I wanted. I'm a lacrosse guy. I'm like, should I do a cause for like kids in Africa that need lacrosse equipment? There's no synergies there between I work with contractors. I want to cause with contractors. And so when you brought up Roofers in Recovery Day, I knew right then and there. And literally, Ty, I think it was 3 weeks later, I had my first golf tournament. Yes, for anybody that's listening, I put on a golf tournament in 3 weeks, and it sucked. If I'm going to be honest with you, it was like 16 people. We raised about $2,000, which was great for 3 weeks. But then the following year, I had a little more time, and I called you, Ty. I'm like, Ty, do you want to join the bandwagon and you do a golf tour in New York and I'll do a golf tour in PA, and Swing for Recovery was born.
Yeah. I love that. I love it. I love that story. I love listening to that story. It never gets old, especially how we met and what inspired you. Roofers in Recovery has been very inspirational to me. I have also got to experience the darker side of, roofing conventions. Jana and I want to say it's got to be, I think for the past couple of years, I've been saying 13 years ago. So it's probably closer to 13 years now, because it might've been only like 5 when I first started to say 13 years ago. But our first expo or convention was a Win the Storm, and they were in their prime. They were in the hype. It might've been around for a couple of years, and it was about 13 years ago, I think. And 13 years ago. So we went there, man, it was so packed, so many people. And we saw what you had mentioned. We saw the partiers, people still in the lobby from the night before.
Yeah.
Like I thought they got up before me. Like there were so many people, like they were just still there from the night before. It kind of blew me away. And not that I've never done that myself, but it just, I just was like, wow. But so we're walking around and it's huge. And we saw this sign, because the way the booths were set up, they would allow you to put a sign up, and it said Roofers in Recovery. Now, mind you, there's a lot of storm restoration, recovery, things of that nature. There's PAs, there's attorneys set up with booths and stuff like that. And Jana and I were both like, that's like our recovery? Is that like
Is that over here?
industry recovery? Like, what is that? So Jana, being the little social butterfly that she is, she goes over there and she introduces herself, and there's Paul Reed and a few other people, the founding members, you know, the OGs of you know, Roofers in Recovery. They're like, oh no, come on. They had just had couches. Their booth was literally like the 2 love seats and like four comfortable chairs. And I guess they were just having meetings on the, you know, expo floor there. And I was like, oh my God, it's giving me goosebumps right now. Not only am I at a roofing convention, but there's other sober people here.
Yeah.
You know, and because we were on our own island back then. I mean, we thought we were hot shit. It opened my eyes because I thought we were hot shit on a silver platter. But to come to find out after experiencing something that big at that scale and the size of the companies that were there, we found out real quick that we were just a cold turd on a paper plate. But we had learned so much, you know, from listening, and everybody was so open. And then we got to experience a recovery meeting while we were there. And it was like, dude, this is the greatest thing ever. Like, when is the next one? We wanted to know. And shortly after that, I developed a friendship with Paul, Kim, and probably mostly with Eric O. And like, we just, whatever we could do to help out, you know, we were there, you know, and it's such a great cause, like both roofing and recovery. Like, dude, that's my world. That's the world that I live in today.
Yep.
You know, so for those two to find that bridge, okay. That's why this is so important, because I've been around, I've done it. I've been up all night for 3 days out on the job site, and then couldn't wait to get and drink all night long and show up to work again. And then stop, couldn't do it. Couldn't show up to work anymore. I became unemployable. And, just, you know, I lost myself years ago, and recovery found me. I don't even know if I found recovery, but recovery found me. I was 12 stepped into the program. I was encouraged. I heard and saw what I liked over there. I really thought the grass was greener. I needed something. I mean, what else did I have to lose, you know, at that point in time in my life? And so very special, very, very special, you know, with this whole thing. And then you being so close to me, wanting to get involved, it just makes it even more special. You know what I mean? This is about you for us. You know what I mean? Which is, and then the greater impact that it's having. But like, why do you think Roofers in Recovery is so important right now for our industry?
Yeah, I mean, I've had so many important and uplifting but powerful conversations over the last 2 years since I've been doing this. You know, this plaque says I'm a partner advocate of Roofers in Recovery. These are the golf balls. I think TC Backer, your golf balls on there somewhere. Yep. We're going to have flags. I'm going to have a flag. Our industry, it's the number one industry of people, human beings in the United States that struggle with drug and alcohol addiction. And Roofers in Recovery, as you know, they've expanded to also mental health, right? So why is this really important? Well, Paul always shares this stat. So I can't give you the source, but I know NRCA does a really, really good job by providing support as well. You know, one stat that really impacts me to the core is, you know, last year or it was like 2022 or 2023, there were 38 deaths of roofers falling off a roofer. Somehow there was a roofer related fatal accident, right? 38. That's a lot.
Yeah.
But there were also 5,000 suicides, right? So when you tack on the mental health issue, it becomes a really big problem. And like, if you look at the statistics, statistically, roofers are like the roofing industry, it's like 2.5 times more likely that you're going to suffer from or struggle with drug and alcohol addiction, opioid abuse, things like that. Mm-hmm. And then just as high, depression and anxiety are the two big mental health issues that roofers, contractors in general have. So all of those, if you think about it, it's just like, holy crap, that's a big number. And my goal, right, is to just do whatever I can to help create awareness to other companies, contracting companies in general, roofing companies specifically, I guess, but anybody. And just, you know, Paul always says it. I've had conversations with you and Vic. We had one of the most poignant conversations I've ever had. Podcast last week. Definitely probably the most deep rooted conversations I had was when I went to Alamosa, Colorado at their rehab center and got to interview 4 sets of people. I mean, I walked out of the rehab center and Paul and Kim got in the car like it was nothing, like they're used to it.
Mhm.
And I brought one of my marketing guys who filmed all the interviews, and they're on LinkedIn, I think, but they all opened up the truck to get in the truck. And I just stood on the curb and I just did this thing. And I just said, holy shit. Sorry for bringing God's name in vain or whatever. I was like, holy cow, like, wow. And my eye, I just cried hysterically because it was so powerful. The stories I just heard from the 4 sets of interviews I had just done, it was like a 3-hour process. And Paul, big guy, just came up to me and gave me a big bear hug. And he's like, I know, Steve, I know. And it was just like, holy cow, the 5.5-hour drive that you and I and Vic had in the car talking about, you know, my pot gummies to help me go to bed, and you're smoking cigarettes, and just addiction in general was really poignant to me. So all that said, I just think it's important. Like, roofers on a roof or doing a job on a job site. If you and I were on a roof, me, you, and Vic were on a roof, I'm not, the stigma is not me going, hey, Ty, just so you know, I have a cocaine issue. I have a cocaine problem. I'm not saying that because it's a stigma. I don't want to say it out loud. Or, hey, Ty, I suffer from depression. I don't want to even get out of bed. But it is a true problem. Statistically speaking, it's the highest in the industry, in all of the industries. And it's just roofing companies, contracting companies, owners. I think it's important to bring that awareness so they understand more than likely someone in their company is suffering from mental health issues or drug and alcohol addiction. What can they do to help support those people?
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And with it being, a tough industry in general, it's a lot of tough people out there, a lot of skilled, tough, tough-minded. And I think admitting a weakness to another man, to, like you were talking about, it's a stigma. Like, I didn't want to go to my coworker and say, I'm struggling with,
right.
Because most guys on the roof would laugh at me. Like, or they would say, yeah, we already knew. You're like the last one to find out. That was my case. But having resources, where people can turn to, because I think that's half the problem, that nobody knows where to go for help. And I think that not enough, because of the stigma around it, not enough of us are out there. I don't want to say screaming from the rooftops, like there is help, but maybe that's what we need to start doing is like, there is help, there is hope. And if I can do it, so can you, and we need the normies, also out there, spreading the news, spreading the word out there, I've been affected by it. So I know where you're coming from, because one of our excuses too is as alcoholics or drug addicts is that you don't know my pain.
Yeah.
You don't understand. I'm different, but yes, but no, you're the same as me, or I know because I've experienced it with family members. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we do understand. There are some normal people out there that can understand, the pains that we go through, because we have to experience it with our loved ones. Right. And that's the thing too. Like, it's not only about them recovering, but we're also putting families back together. Yeah. Making dads again, because I came to you when I first came to this, right? I was unemployable. I wasn't trusted. I was irresponsible. But today I come to you as a father, a grandfather, a son, a brother, a significant other. And I couldn't say those things many years ago. I couldn't say that to you.
Yeah.
I was completely unreliable. I was non-existent. I was nothing. And that's exactly how I felt. But there is hope out there. Unfortunately, it takes time. Time takes time. Things I must endure, things I must earn. A lot of those things, when we're talking about building families and building trust, we want to get 3 days sober and go out there and start making amends, but they're so used to hearing you say, I'm sorry. It just falls on deaf ears, and it time takes time, but the recovery is possible. And that's the important thing. That is the message to get out there, that you do deserve it. You do deserve it, because there's all these stupid things that we say to ourselves when we're out there going through it. if you only knew what I've done, or if you went through the things that I've gone through. And it's like, most of us have, brother.
My brother, which is another reason why this hits home for me, is you said it, family members. My brother is a recovering alcoholic, right? Like, he was a bar owner for many years and he struggled mightily. He told his wife one day he got in trouble, right? He acted like a buffoon the night before, and he woke up the next morning. He's like, I'm just not going to drink for 1 year and let's just see how it goes. And then he went to his first AA meeting, and literally, like, I asked him 3 days later, how's it going? He's like, I'm an alcoholic and the 1 year thing is over. I need to stop drinking altogether. And it wasn't too long after he decided that we had we do a family thing with my father every year in Massanutten. And we were there, and he was sober for, I don't even know how long. Maybe it was a month, maybe it was like a few months, but he, like, typically we play board games all weekend long, right? We have a good family time, but he cussed out my mother-in-law. He cussed out his wife. He almost fought me. Like, he like face to face, like almost got into blows with me. And it was horrible. And it was like, he didn't know how to act sober when playing a board game, something as simple as that. And I can say 3.5 years later, he is a different person. He literally is no longer a bar owner or a financial advisor, which is what he was. He's working at a rehab facility, Ty, and he's helping others.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. I love that. I love that. All right. So I got a question for, Hope in the Valley. Cause I know when we first got involved with Roofers in Recovery, they at that time didn't have a facility. They did have facilities where they could send people. And back then, not that long ago, it was about $15,000 to send one person to rehab. Would you say that's about the same now that they have their own, just with inflation and everything and good medical attention and stuff like that? Still about 15,000.
About 15 grand for a 28-day stay at a rehab facility. Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that I had those stats accurately, because that's what I've been telling people for a while. But I thought, well, maybe that's changed a little bit. Maybe it's went up. Maybe it hasn't gone up.
As of last year, it was 15 grand.
Okay. So
as of as early as this year, actually, because I went to Hope in the Valley at the beginning of the year.
Like so that's our goal. Our goal is to raise 15 each. I think that's your goal too. To be able to send 2 people within our industry to rehab those that are seeking help, but they got to want it too. Like, they're not going to chase you down, and all those things. And you're going to want it. You're going to want to know that you're at your end. But it's a beautiful thing that this is here, man. I wish I probably wouldn't have been ready, for it back then. If I was going to say, it's a shame that it wasn't around sooner. I'd have probably went more that direction instead of, dancing around it for as long as I have. But my ego and pride kept me out there. And, pride will kill you, and ego is edging God out. And I did that for a long time, and I can't say enough about what they do out there. And like you said, they do it every day like this. Not that they still don't get inspired by what they do, because that literally has become their purpose, right? They just do it at a mass scale, a little more, into it. And we need that. We really need that. And they need us to promote it for them and let people know that there's a place. But with the golf outing, okay, instead of, or not just the financial gain that the rehab will get, what about the awareness, and what are you hoping for? You know what I mean? Outside of raising money, in terms of the awareness and the impact across the trades, like what are you hoping you get out of the golf outing?
I learn at every golf outing, right? Like, you and I had an interview. I bring my microphone and I interview recovering addicts and ask them questions. And then we post that on our socials. Mm-hmm. We have a landing page on our website at projectmapit.com that is starting to get better and better with more resources and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Ultimately, man, I see Project Map It working hand in hand with Roofers in Recovery to really try to create awareness even more. The golf outing was really awesome last year because I was able to do so many interviews. I remember the day was over, the the sun was setting and I was on the patio, beautiful landscape, with Dan Moyer, who helps run my tournament. And he's a recovering addict. And the reason he's a recovering addict is because my brother and him are good friends. And so my brother became recovering, and Dan was like, I want what Dave has, my brother. And it's just cool. It's really, to me, it's just so special to see how it blossoms, you know, from one person to another, to hundreds of people, to thousands of people. Right. So I like to learn, and I do like to film some of that stuff so that I can then promote it on our socials and any other platform that will have us through Roofers and Recovery relationship, through Swing for Recovery. It made Paul and Kim go like, hey, this guy really is serious. Like, he really is an advocate of this. Let's fly him out to Hope in the Valley. So that opened up an opportunity for me to learn there. Right. If I didn't have Swing for Recovery, that opportunity would have never happened. We had some really amazing interviews, like amazing interviews. And then from there, honestly, Ty, I would love to see, I'm curious what you think about this. I know that distribution companies, manufacturing companies, I know they sponsor events for bringing awareness to the issues that we've been talking about. I would love to see more. So I say this on every podcast or interview that I'm on, is like, I know that I will speak directly to distribution companies, manufacturers. Why? Because they have the most outreach, right? They, I mean, we work hand in hand with Certainty. They've been amazing. I'd like to talk about some of the partnerships both of us have with Swing for Recovery, but Certainty has certainly stepped up to the plate all 3 years for me. And, they have, I don't know, let's just say 10,000 contractors that they can touch point, like these other manufacturers are, distribution companies alone, it's tens or hundreds of thousands of contractors. It'd be amazing to see some of these supply companies and manufacturing companies step up even more, not just sponsor events that like Roofers Coffee Shop or Roofers in Recovery or we're doing. I'd love to see, because they have the most outreach, right? NRCA has done an amazing job. Kudos to them. I was on a podcast. I wasn't on it. I was watching something that Roofers Coffee Shop was doing. So I learned a lot about NRCA, and there was another company on there, and I really wish I knew their name so I'd give them a shout out, but I was looking for my notes. I don't have it, but there are people out there that have online courses and things like that to help people understand, like contracting companies understand how they can support and provide resources to their employees. Paul Reed at his company, they have like 5 brands or something like that now. It's like 500 employees work for, the companies that Paul Reed is working for, and they have weekly talks. Like every week, all 500 people bring up some sort of message when it comes to awareness. So like, just getting it out there, man, getting it out there. And I want to be a part of that. I really do.
Yeah, no, that's a great response. That was a great response. And I love how you said you want to learn more and surround yourself, get in the trenches, promote it, bring awareness to people. And not only, with your interviews and stuff like that, they might, with that interview with Dan, somebody that he knows, or maybe not directly, but knew who he was when he was out there, that might be struggling and may say to themselves, because you did that video with him.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're creating that impact by putting it out there, and Dan not being afraid to say, hey, look, I was once too, and kudos to him because it is anonymous. A lot of it's anonymous. But I think you just kind of get to the point where it's kind of like, are we hurting ourselves because we want to attract more people, right? It's not promotion. It's attract more people over here. Like, hey, there's help over here. As secretly, and I think it's just been a secret for way too long, because it's not necessarily for those that need it. It's for those that want it, these programs, because if it was for people who needed it, man, there wouldn't be enough room in that church basement.
There's a number you can call, or just, it's like 988 or something. I can't remember, but you can call, and they'll send text messages to you. So if you want to kind of be like, I don't want to talk to anybody, but I just want someone out in the world to know that I'm struggling, 988 text, they'll text you back and forth. Like, there's so many resources out there that I don't think people realize. Sorry to interrupt.
No. It's good. This is good. I didn't know that either. So that's good to know. Maybe we should post that in the comments there. But
Find it.
one of my hopes were to invite people to this, not only to bring awareness and raise money to send somebody there, but I was hoping that there was somebody in the crowd, because I was doing a little speech. We do a little, thank you. This is what we raised, but I was hoping somebody in that crowd out of the 100, and I think we had over 100 people there last year, and I was hoping that there was somebody there, a mother, a father, a brother, an uncle, that had somebody going through addiction, and now we planted that seed. We allowed them to know, like, hey, we're here.
Yeah.
We're here. That was probably that's what kept going through my head. Like, there's got to be somebody out there, because I know this affects every family, whether it's immediate family or extended family. I know for a fact
everyone
that addiction has impacted them in some way, shape, or form. There's got to be that crazy uncle, or that crazy aunt, or my mom, or my dad, or my son, my children, and that was one of the things that kept going through my head about how special the ripple effects that we're creating, and don't even know that our potential, the reach that we're potentially having here. So no, it was good. And you started to touch on that a little bit, and I just wanted to elaborate that a little more, because it's much more. We're bringing awareness to that, 100 or so crowd that we're bringing into the golf course, and then they're walking away with Swing for Recovery swag. They're walking away for Roofers and Recovery swag. They're walking away with TC Backer stuff.
Yeah,
that now they know who or what to contact when a loved one might be going through this, or themselves, or there had to be someone in the crowd that is struggling with it.
Yeah.
And know confidently that, listen, nobody needs to know. Just come talk to me for a minute. We don't have to let the world know that you're struggling with something that has become, a stigma, over time. And it's a shame. In mental health, it plays hand in hand. Typically we're seeking a vice to quiet the storm within our minds, and we don't know what we're struggling with: anxiety, anxiousness, depression, neurosis, all those things. We don't know how to handle them, without some form of mind altering substance. And so we start self-medicating, and then what happens, an addiction develops out of that, because we only feel good. But then what happens is over time it stops working, because a lot of people don't know this. Alcohol was my solution to everything. I was the problem. The problem started with me in the way that I thought, whether it be a chemical imbalance or post traumatic stress syndrome, whatever, however, born with it, not born with it, there was something that had me seek out self-medication. And at some point in time, it stops working. And usually when it stops working, that's where the real pain and the real trouble comes about, is when it stops working for me. And it was for a long time, it was a solution. It was a good day, I drank to make it a better day. It was a bad day, I drank to try to make it a better day. I thought I needed to drink to be sociable. I thought I needed to drink to, be more creative. I like all of these false statements that I would say to myself were I'm more creative now than I've ever been. I am more courageous now than I had ever been, because that's the thing. You can't unpickle a cucumber. You know what I mean? So I'm still crazy. Yeah. I'm still,
you are, I love hanging out with you guys. You guys are crazier.
Yes.
In a more fun way, sober than healthy, you are drunk and idiotic.
Yes. Healthy, crazy. We'll go into a restaurant. There could be a handful of us, and I bet they think we're drinking, but we're not, because 100%. We're just gut laughing, having a good time, and that fellowship and camaraderie, and surrounding yourself around other people who love you for who you are, and understand who you are and how you tick and why you tick that way. It's just amazing feeling.
So I'll tell a funny. I don't know. Do we have when do we end? Is it 1 o'clock?
We got about 15 minutes.
Okay. So real quick then, my favorite TC Backer story is we were at some expo. I can't remember which one, sharing a booth with you. And I had told you all I wanted to take you all out. And it was like, 8 of you at that one, at that table. So I had budgeted ahead of time. I hope my partner Ryan doesn't hear this, but because I spend money too easily. I know I got to get better at that. So I took you guys out and I budgeted like $1,200. I was like, okay, I'm taking like 8, 10 of them out. I mean, I got to have the money. So I'm going to budget. And just so everybody knows, I have a hearing aid. That's why I keep picking my ear. I'm putting it back in. Troubles of being old. So we get to the restaurant. We're having a great time. You guys are idiots, just like me. It was fun. I'm sure exactly like you just said, the waiter's probably like this. They're all just drunk and stupid, but they're the ones giving us the stuff. So they know we're not drunk and stupid because we're getting waters and teas and Cokes. And at the end of the night, that bill was $300. I got that bill and I'm like, I mean, I've taken 4 people out and the bill was $1,200. I'm taking 10 people out and it was $380. So I gave that waiter like a $900 tip because I budgeted $1,200. And I'm like, let's just do this. And the waiter was beside him or herself. I couldn't remember that, but I just remember like, you guys are the cheapest people to ever take out because you don't buy freaking alcohol.
Right.
Brilliant.
Yeah. And how do you think our wallets feel today?
Yeah. Right. Totally.
Yeah. 100%. You know? Yeah. Yeah.
Oh
no, that's just one of many blessings of not drinking, you know, and wanting to take care of your body better. Like you mentioned earlier, when we were coming up, you know, the road, you know, just wanting to take care of ourselves better mentally, spiritually, and physically, you know, and that's really what it's about. Your body's a temple. And if I'm not taking care of myself, I can't take care of other people. And it starts with putting the drink down.
So with 15 minutes left, 10 minutes left, can we talk about, I just want to bring up, because I'm curious what you think. I want to provide some insight, whatever. And we've already talked about a lot of it, but just to kind of summarize this, right? Like if I could offer any advice from things that I've learned over the last 3 years from talking to people in the industry about this specific topic, in your company, if you're a contractor, have conversations, have team conversations with your employees. And honestly, I don't know exactly what that conversation looks like exactly, but you can reach out to Roofers in Recovery because they can guide you on exactly what kind of questions. Like it can be like a 5-minute, 10-minute just check in with your employees when you're on a team meeting, you know, your weekly or monthly team meetings. And Roofers in Recovery, you can reach out to Kim Reed probably is the one, but Paul as well. Paul will answer any phone call or a text in a heartbeat. But I would encourage every contractor to have a team meeting, or during your team meetings, bring up the awareness, because let's just say, more than likely it's not the case, right, Ty? But let's say I'm a smaller company and I have 8 people in my roofing company and none of them drink, or none of them have an addiction problem. You already said it. Ty said it. Like out of those 8 people, they know 20 people, that's 160 people now, somebody is suffering. So now giving them some resources or being able to talk about it might give them the courage to talk to their best friend about it because their best friend is having a problem. So that would be the first thing I'd recommend. Like just have the conversations. They can be 5-minute conversations, but have them with your team.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's
do you have any, I mean, I have other things, but do you have any advice? I don't mean to put you on the spot.
I like that. No. I like that. And we should probably bring that up a little more often, but I think my doors are always open. And I know that for a fact because we've helped quite a few people over the years that have came to me in private and, hey, I'm struggling. And, you know, they kind of go MIA. We kept it on the DL, you know, they already had planned vacation and it was usually shortly after they started here.
Yep.
You know, so it kind of worked out where I was like, yeah, they already had a planned vacation and nobody realizes it's like 28 days. Like no one, I don't think I've ever had anybody come up to me and be like, yo, where's so-and-so been for the past 28 days? And we've helped out, you know, because we were in a position where we could actually help them out while they were there. So I think if you're in a position to be able to do that, you know, I highly encourage it because you know, the thing about us alcoholics, it only takes one of us to outwork 3 people. And that is a statistical fact. You know, our threshold for pain is much higher than most people because you will not throw anything at me that I have not already put myself through in a more stressful situation. Okay. So, you know, I would strongly suggest, you know, and we've done a second chance program where we pull people out on work release from prisons, have been the best employees because they have to show up on time.
I love that.
and they have turned out to be the best people. We have some that made it. We have some that haven't made it, but that's okay. But that's kind of our purpose. That's kind of our cause. So halfway houses, rehabs, and prison work release programs is a good place to, because I hear people all the time say, well, I can't find enough labor. Well, have you checked with your local county prison?
Yeah.
There's a lot of roofers in jail. We talked about why earlier. The mental health issues that they're not receiving in prisons. Okay. It's supposed to be a correctional facility, but putting them behind bars is not correcting anything. The isolation, I'm not saying that there's not programs in jail, but it's not a huge focus. It's something that you got to want to do. And you got to go through a lot of channels to even get to an AA meeting, because there's not enough support of us out here going in there and bringing the message into
Right.
jails. But that's a whole nother podcast for another day. But go ahead.
Resources, right? So have a meeting. We've already covered that. Ty just covered a really cool idea, which I love.
Yeah.
Resources would be, you can reach out to me. I probably won't know the right answer right away, but I certainly can get you in touch with the people that would. So reach out to Steve Spence, reach out to Ty Backer. He can easily do the same. Yeah. But organizations, NRCA, they really have a lot of cool support and know a lot of resources and companies that they've used. They really made a big push to bring awareness. Roofers Coffee Shop is a big one. And obviously Roofers in Recovery. So like me, Ty, Roofers Coffee Shop, Roofers in Recovery, NRCA. Those are all great resources to reach out to if you want to learn how you can reach more people in your company.
Yeah, and I'm going to break a couple of people's anonymity here, because I'm sure they're not going to mind. But Victor Uri is another good one to reach out to. That got me a little choked up.
Yeah.
And my wife, Jana Backer. If you're female and you're in the industry, out of the industry, doesn't really matter. She has devoted her complete life to recovery. She helps a lot of women on a daily basis, 7 days a week. I know her morning is full with that, taking care of other women and giving them advice and pointing them in the right direction, and also taking care of our grandchild. That has become her life's mission, is to give back. And so
Choke
just
me up.
putting that out there. And so that holds me accountable to keeping my head out of my ass, because I've surrounded my entire life evolves. I work with people, I live with people, that are in recovery, and it's a cool, it's not a cult, but it's a cool atmosphere to be in today, around all of these people who have been through hell. And that's the thing. It's not a religious program. None of these programs are religious. I'm sure there's religious organizations out there that have recovery programs, but we look at it as a spiritual program with spiritual principles. And religion is for people who are afraid to go to hell, but spirituality is for those of us who have been there. Yeah. So if you're putting yourself through hell and everybody else through hell, give us a call, text me, message me, DM me, Victor Uri, Jana Backer, Steven Spence, or Ty Backer. I mean, I'm not scared. I'm not afraid. If you knew who I was before, I don't live with that on my shoulder, on my sleeve anymore. I used to have a complex of if they really knew who I was, but I screw them, because
no, I don't.
Today
see,
we're making
like
an
right
impact.
there though. Everybody appreciates every single thing you just said. Everybody, and you're vulnerable enough to admit that you are a recovering addict and that you struggle. I struggle mightily with anxiety. I never knew that until I started seeing a therapist. I've seen a therapist. I'll admit that. I've been every other week. I see my doc every other week, and it's been for 3 years. And I've learned a lot about myself. One of which is funny enough, I'm like a big, like I can get in front of anybody and meet anybody and be best friends with them by the end of the night. And I'm very outgoing, but I struggle mightily with anxiety when I'm in front of a lot of people, to be totally honest with you. It's weird, but I struggle with it. So I have issues. So thank you for sharing that. It means a lot. I think we should also talk about the people that are supporting our different golf events. Like if I can take a second to say thank you to some of our sponsors.
Absolutely.
I got to give huge shout out to Certainteed. I mean, these guys have Scott DeGrosso specifically. He's one of the first Certainteed people I met in my local area. He's now like a district territory manager, but Certainty not only financially backs us big time with a pretty big financial thank you, but they send me boxes upon boxes of golf swag, golf bags, Arctic coolers, like everything. Like literally, they probably dropped like $5,000 on things that I can use as swag material. ABC Supply, one of our partners, stepped up big time. They're bringing lots of foursomes and are bringing a ton of hats, and just really appreciate those guys and ladies. Engage. They've been a partner of ours forever. They were a big, they're our 13th Step Dinner sponsor. Roofer. I don't know if you've ever gotten these. I don't know if you have them for your golf tournament. They're called like, what do you call, they're like sticks that you can pick up golf balls as you're driving the golf cart. It's like a scramble stick, I think. They sent me some really cool swag, Roofer, and they also sponsored a foursome. Presto Media, and then a ton of our own customers like Peak Roofing, Pal Roofing, Tar Heel, Arnold Roofing. These are all guys that either want to support Project Map It and my, love for the cause, or they struggle. Like I've had people email me and say, hey, I'm throwing this $1,500 sponsor because I am a recovering addict and I love what you're doing. So on top of that, all my customers are doing some cool things. We have like this sponsorship called PMI Caddy Support. And in fact, this is not the right one, but you'll have one of these, Ty.
Awesome.
So yard sign, but like everyone that's a Project Map It customer, we built a sign like that basically says, thanks for your support. And I'm putting all the signs up on the first hole. So right now we have 40. I'm hoping to get like 80, but imagine 40 signs on the first hole. And those are just Project Map It, my own customers that are saying thank you and for doing this cause. So supporting this cause. So that's I just wanted to give them big shout outs because they all deserve it.
Yeah. And this is, Project Map, it's becoming your vehicle to have an impact.
Yeah.
And that's how we see the roofing industry. TC Backers become the vehicle for us to have an impact, not just with recovering people, but less fortunate people in our community. And sometimes even being able to give people jobs, not just food, not just money, but our time and volunteering and things like that, because time is the most valuable possession. So giving your time, it's not always about breaking out the checkbook. It's about volunteering with some of these events, like, Swing for Recovery, the 21 Turkey, it's just coming out there and the gratitude is overwhelming, especially if you've been on the streets and you've lived on the streets and you didn't know where you're going to get your next fresh pair of dry socks from. That's things that we don't even think about when we're out in the freezing cold and our feet are wet, soaking wet. And we know it's going to get even colder tonight, just things that we tend to take for granted, going home and having a washing machine or a sock drawer full of, socks and things like that. The things that, unless you've been where we've been, you don't think about how important those things can be to people that, are usually mentally struggling, with mental illnesses that just can't figure it, can't get out of their own way. It's not that they're lazy. It's not that it's just, they didn't have the opportunity or the resources available to them or whatever the case might be. And it's not for me to judge. I just know how I got there. And most of it was self-induced stuff, but a lot of these people that are on the streets living right now it's not self-induced. It's just kind of where they ended up and had nowhere else to go. And it's a shame, but no, I love it. This has been an amazing episode. We're getting down to the wire here, but Steve, thank you for everything that you do, and not only sharing how Project Map It is helping contractors win, but for standing alongside and supporting roofers in recovery. If anybody wants to make a difference, get involved with our upcoming Swing for Recovery event. Every dollar raised goes towards helping people. Every dollar, single dollar. If we raise $30,000, that $30,000 outside of covering some expenses for the golf course, and that's pretty much it. Unfortunately, that's pretty much one of our largest. The food for ours has been donated by, I'm not going to say, well, I might as well plug in Mark Jones, JCL vending is donating the food. I mean, like this, a lot of people want to know how to get involved and so many people want to get involved with stuff, but don't know how either, so, but anyhow, we're going to put a couple links in here. I saw Jimmy Hammond put his link in there. So I know Jimmy's in there. I know he's got one coming up in the Indy.
October 27th. He is.
Yeah.
He's gonna do it. Jimmy's gonna do it. He's got some foursomes. He's got some sponsorships coming his way. I wish I could go out there. I'm gonna be somewhere on his day. Unfortunately,
Yeah, unfortunately, we won't make it either.
Love you,
But
Jimmy.
We'll post the links, whether you want to donate, register to play, sponsor, whatever the case might be. Every dollar helps. And of course, make sure you subscribe to Beyond the Tool Belt. It wouldn't be proper if I didn't plug Beyond the Tool Belt a little bit here. Follow, share, like, love, comment. You got any questions? You don't want to put them in the comments about the topic today. Please hit me up in my DM. Hit Steven up, hit Jen up, hit Jimmy up, hit Paul, Kimberly, Victor, any of us. Hit us up. Even if anybody in the comments right now, I think pretty much are people that are our people. Even if they're not in recovery, they're still our people, and they'll get you in the right, they'll point you in the right direction. So I think Steven left us. Not sure. There he is.
You see me?
Yep, we can now.
I was trying to comment. I never logged into Facebook. I didn't even see the comments until just now. Oh,
yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. All good stuff. So thank you, Steven. And I look forward to seeing you in a couple weeks.
Appreciate you, brother. We'll see you, Victor, soon.
Yeah.
Yes.